What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a little bit of custom-ish sheet metal work to the interior of the Dodge D100. Let's roll that intro, and I'll show you what I got going on. Alright, so lately, most of the work that I've been doing to this D100 has been focused on the interior. Now, I did a video on adding patina to the door panels and the dash. I also did a video where I made some custom lower door panels. And there's also a video on where I patched up the old hole for the old heater box and added a fresh air vent to the passenger side of the cab. Today, I'm continuing working on the interior, and let me show you what I got going on. So today, I'm going to be working on making a custom center console to enclose that framing I had to make for the floor shifter. Now, this is probably going to be a 3-part video, I'm guessing right now. Today, I'm just going to be working on making a bottom piece, the main bottom. That's going to be some patinaed steel with a leather top, and there's also some cup holders, and probably going to be doing a tray on the far side for your cell phone or change or your wallet or whatever. So let's get started, and I'll show you what I've got going on. All right, so here's what I've got so far. I started off making a MDF frame, just some like 1x4 maybe, or 1x3. I forget exactly what I used to make the frame, and that's got the holes drilled in it where it can screw right into the metal frame beneath. And then I covered the top with some, I believe it was 16 gauge steel that I had to cut out for the shifter, and I had to cut out for the cup holders there. And then on the far side, let's see if I can get the camera over there, I cut out for just a tray there that I'm going to make for like your cell phone or wallet or whatever. And that's just going to be probably about a 1-inch deep recessed tray that I got to make. And I'm going to patina that and rivet it like I did with the side piece there. So the side piece, I just took some chipboard and I measured along different points, and I made that piece of, it's out of, I think that's 22 gauge steel on the side there that I cut to shape, and then I riveted it to the side there, and then it follows the carpet pretty good. Not perfect, but it's good enough for my needs. So this is going to be the first part. I still have to make the steel side for the passenger side there, and that's what I'm going to be showing you how I did that today. The next videos will probably be making somebody's car alarm's going off. Making a back piece, like an armrest and a cubby. Damn, that car alarm's annoying. And then I'm going to be adding a piece that goes up the front to the dash where it's going to meet up. Let's see if I can get in there. A piece that's going to come up the front here and join up with the dash up on the front somehow. But I want to make the front part removable so that I can get to that trans access cover there that I have to finish still. So that's got to be removable so I can get to that. And then I'm going to also make the back piece removable. That's going to be here with like an armrest, probably a leather topped armrest, probably some patina sides, maybe leather. I haven't decided yet. And that way, to take this bottom piece out, if I ever have to service the shifter or anything like that, then it won't be one big piece trying to come out. I'll be able to take the front off, take the back off, and then the bottom piece will come out. But yeah, so the top there that I made, that you can see that that's just 16 gauge, I believe. Might be 18, I forget, but I'm pretty sure it's 16. That I wanted real sturdy on. I wanted it, the top to be super sturdy. But I didn't want to use MDF. I didn't want the thickness of the MDF. So I used the 16 gauge, and then under the leather, and this is actual scrap leather that I had from another project that I did where I'm working on a shop stool. So I'll link to that video also I'll show you that. But this is some leftover leather I had. So as opposed to the lower door panel over there and the kick panel where I used vinyl, this here is actual leather. So, but under there is a piece of like 1/16 inch thick, like craft foam. And then the leather, it's all spray adhesive down. That way it just adds just a little bit of cushion. You know, it's not really noticeable, but it would be more noticeable if you were, you know, setting on like just the bare steel underneath that leather. So it adds just a little bit of cushioning. But yeah, so let's get over to the workbench and I'll show you how I did the side piece there. All right, so in order to make the side piece for that center console, first thing I did was make a template. Now, I know I wanted that piece to be about 24 inches long, so I used some of this real thin chipboard material, and I just measured along about 1 inch intervals along that top edge, and then I measured down to where it hit the carpet on the interior, and I transferred those measurements to this chipboard, and what that did was give me this bottom edge profile here. And this should sit when the center console's in. Drop this in, and it should follow the floor nicely. Then what I did was I transferred this template over to a couple pieces of plywood. This is 3/4 inch plywood, and this I cut exactly to the shape of the template. What that's going to do is give me a form or a buck in order to bend my sheet metal around and give me the finished shape that I want on my sheet metal. Then what I did was I took the same template and transferred it over to 22 gauge sheet metal. Now what I did was I made it about an inch bigger all the way around. Well, top and bottom, not all the way around, just top and bottom. About a 1/2 inch on the top, 1/2 inch on the bottom. What that's going to do, let's see if I can just show that here. So there, you can see I left a lip around both sides, or around the top and the bottom. Now what that's going to do, that's going to leave me a 1/2 inch along the top that I could bend over to 90, and that'll give me the top lip that I will then rivet into the top of the center console. Now, by riveting that in, it's going to secure it. Second, it's going to help secure that leather and foam top that I have on the top, and that's going to help secure that down. Even though that's glued and, you know, spray adhesive down, should be plenty strong, especially once once the cup holders are in place and the little catch tray that's going to be in there. But this is just going to help secure those edges and just really clean it up. And I added the rivets that I did on the other piece. They're spaced about 1 inch along that 1/2 inch strip. So that's going to leave me that 1/2 inch along the top to bend over to that 90 to come up over the top of the center console. That other extra part along the bottom here is going to allow me to fold it over and crease it so that I don't have a sharp edge along the bottom. That's just going to give me a rolled edge along the bottom, and that way, you know, if you drop something, you're reaching down there trying to fish around for something you drop, you're not going to maybe, you know, cut your hand on the bottom of that sheet metal. It's just going to put a radius edge along that bottom and just really soften that bottom edge. All right, so let's get the sheet metal into the buck, and then we'll go over how I bend it around there. So that top edge here, I want it to be about a 1/2 inch. Just give me a little 1/2 inch overlap. The alignment of the top piece isn't as important as the bottom, since it's going to be bending around the bottom one. The top one is really there just to clamp the whole thing in place, make sure nothing moves. All right, now we'll just get some clamps and we'll clamp the whole thing down to the bench. All right, so now that you got your sheet metal clamped into your form or your buck, now we can start bending that flange or that lip down over. Now, you don't want to just go and start whacking the living hell out of it and just bend it over real quick. You want to kind of ease into it. You know, that'll keep your sheet metal from deforming and just make for a nice, cleaner bend. You can use, I think on the last one, I think I used a dead blow hammer. I also have some Harbor Freight body hammers. They're not the best, and they're actually kind of beat up from some other stuff I was doing. But for this, they'll be fine. You can even just use a regular hammer or whatever. Just take your time, bend it slowly, and that way you won't get any. It'll kind of help eliminate any wrinkles or any waves or any nicks in it. I'm probably gonna get some. On the last piece, I got some little nicks in it from like the edge of the hammer and everything, which I just ground out. So let's start bending this over. I do recommend hearing protection, as this can get pretty loud. I'm also working on a metal bench, so even though it is on wood, hopefully, won't be too bad. But better be safe. Now that I got the majority of that bent over most of the way, I'm going to go to one of the body hammers now and really get in there and sharpen up that top crease and make sure this is nice and flat along this entire edge. There you can see just how well that, nothing heavy, I wasn't banging the hell out of it. I wasn't putting, a full swing into it. I was just kind of working along that edge. That gives me a nice, there we go, nice sharp edge there, all along the entire form. Still needs a little bit of dressing up, maybe get it in a little bit tighter, but that's the basics of right there. You just kind of keep working at it. All right, now let's get set up and we'll do this other edge. This other edge is a little bit more difficult because of the curves. For one, you're gonna have to almost shrink it a little bit in these curves here and stretch it a little bit along these curves here. So the stretching side, you gotta be careful. I mean, this isn't severe of a bend at all, so it's not gonna really stretch all that much. So you don't have to really worry about it splitting, but you still wanna kind of be careful. And then in these low areas here, where it curves inward, that's where you're gonna shrink it. So you're gonna get some folds in there, you're gonna get some buckling, but that's what actually shrinks it and helps it conform to that inside curve. So again, take it slow, work at it slowly, work those. You want to make sure that the crease, one, doesn't really transfer up over the edge. And you really don't want it to overlap on itself when it creases in there. So you just take it slow, keep working at it, and it'll go. And then, like I said, this edge actually is going to curl all the way over. So I'm going to use the buck to get it to 90, and then I'll take it out of the buck, and I will be able to finish, once it hits 90, I'll take it out of the buck and finish curling it over all the way. And then, again, just have to be real careful with that because it's going to want to buck on itself, and it's going to want to kind of warp the panel a little bit. But let's keep going, and we'll get that done. So there you can see that other lower edge here. It's mostly over. I mean, it needs more work, like I said, but it's also going to go past 90. So all these dings and marks and everything in the surface I really don't care about because it's going to be folded over to the back side and you'll never see them. I know it looks like it's beat up pretty good because of all the marks all along that edge. But like I said, it doesn't matter. That's all going to get folded over to the back. So it'll get smoothed out and rolled over. They won't be on the front, so you'll never see them. Now we can just get this damn thing out. So there you go. There's a good portion of your side panel done. Now I just got to finish rolling this edge all the way over. All right, so there you get the gist of it there. That's the basics. I mean, you know, I'm sure there are probably better ways, better ways, easier ways, different tools, but you know, it just goes to show you, you don't need a whole lot of special tools. I mean, I literally did that with what? I think a jigsaw to cut out the plywood, a couple of dead blow hammer. I could have done that with a regular, you know, regular hammer. I mean, I didn't have to use body hammers, but I had them. They're not the best. They're the Harbor Freight ones, but they did the job. I also found, and I gotta highly recommend this tool. I got one of the Bauer Harbor Freight brand sheet metal shears. Up till now, I would have had to cut the sheet metal out with an angle grinder or hand shears. Highly recommend it. I mean, it does great for the straight cuts and does some real easy curves, but dude, got to get one. I mean, it makes life so much easier. I think it was like $60 maybe, something like that. Anyway, check it out. You know, it's Harbor Freight brand, but it's their Bauer, so supposedly it's better quality than their other tools. I don't know. Check it out. For the amount that I'm going to use it and the amount that, you know, the stuff I'm going to be cut with, it says it'll cut like 16 or 18 gauge. And I think I ran it through some 18 gauge and it cut through it. So highly impressed. Get one. But anyway, that's enough of that. This is that bottom edge I was talking about. See how that's, see if I can get that up in there. It's not really going to focus on that, but you can see there that it's folded over. And then what that does, I mean, it gives you a little radiused edge here. So when this is in the car, if you, like I said, if you drop something, you reach down and now you don't have to worry about hitting a sharp edge. You got a nice radius edge there. I got to do some more work on it, you know, bending it over better. There's still some curls and ripples in the back, some folds, whatever. I'm going to get those smoothed out. Next will be, I'm going to be adding a patina to it, which I did a video on doing the patina for my door panels and dashboard, which I'll link to somewhere up here. I think it's going to be over here. But you can check that video out. But I'll show you real quick how I did the patina on that once I finish getting this cleaned up. All right. So let me finish with that, and then I'll show you how I'm going to patina this. All right. So just like in my video that I did on the interior door panels, adding a patina to bare sheet metal is super simple. I'm using two different items. One is copper sulfate, which is the blue liquid in this bottle. And that is just some of this Zep root kill that I just added some of these granules to some water. And what that's going to do is give it a kind of an aged copper look. Some areas are going to have copper look, you know, some are going to have that green patinaed copper. Really like the way that turns out on here. So I'm going to add that. And then this is just a mixture of apple cider vinegar and regular white vinegar. No reason for that. It's just I was originally using apple cider vinegar. I ran out, went to the store, got a big jug of white vinegar. It was cheaper, so I just add that to this. And that's, again, gonna add to the patina. So what I'm going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to actually do a time lapse so you guys can see just how quickly this patinas. All right, so I'm going to spray this down. I'm going to leave the camera running. And I'll of course speed it up, but you know, you guys can see just how quickly this actually patinas. So I'll spray it. Get my coffee out of here. I'll spray it and I'll leave the camera running. And I'll come back in 20 minutes, half hour, and we'll see where we're at. All right, so first I'm going to spray the copper sulfate. Now I've got this set to just a mist. I'm going to make sure I get the top lip here so that the top gets patinaed also. I mean, you can see, look, it's already starting to add some color. And then the vinegar. All right. let that run. I'll be back in a little bit. I'll just let that record, and I'll come check on it. I mean, you can see, look at that already. It's already starting to change color. I'm going to let that run because I'm interested to see, too, just how it looks when it's changing and once I do the time lapse on it. All right, so I'll see you in, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. All right, so that's been 10 minutes so far. It's not looking too bad. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. Some spots look like they're starting to get dry. I'm going to add, I think I'm just going to do some more vinegar. Maybe a little bit of the copper sulfate. Just a touch of it. There we go. And we'll do some more vinegar. It was just starting to dry out. Look at that. I mean, that just instantly changed color on me. Get the top edge here also. All right, we'll let that go for another, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come back. So it's been about 20 minutes total. It was the first 10 minutes, sprayed it, another 10 minutes. And that's where we're at. Let's see if I can get a better view of how that looks. Let's try to turn the light on. Yeah. So 20 minutes and you got a patinaed piece of sheet metal. You know, it's going to kind of blot it dry and we'll see how it looks. Got to be careful because you don't want to wipe it because it'll take the patina off it. What I like to do is once I have it dried, I like to hit it with some clear coat That just kind of really locks in the patina. You don't have to worry about wiping it off. You don't have to worry about it getting too dark. Even that top edge looks really good too. Of course, now I got vinegar all over my hands. It's going to smell really good. All right, there you have it. Still needs to be dried some more, and then I'll hit it with some clear coat, and we'll go on to the next step. So apparently the memory on my phone got full while I was recording this last section, and it didn't save the video. So all I did was I laid out all the drill points for the rivets. I spaced them all out about 1 inch apart, and then I actually drilled for 3 of the rivets. I drilled the one on each end and one in the middle, drilled them out completely and added the rivet, and that way it would just hold the piece in place while I drilled the other pilot holes. I drilled all the other pilot holes, and now at this point I am drilling out for the actual size of the rivet. This one here, I think I actually hit one of the screws that's holding the metal plate to the top. So I ran into that over on one of these other sides. So all I'll do is I'll cut the head off a rivet and I'll just super glue that down and it'll look like it's a rivet. I think I've got enough here to hold it in place. I actually ran into that same issue here. So again, I'll just cut the head off it, super glue it down. Never even know. All right, so now that all the rivets in place, we'll just go through and seat all the rivets. All right, so there you have it. There's the passenger side of the new center console done. I just got that screw sticking out the side there just to get the holes lined up so it'd be right where it needs to be. Now I'll probably build a surround piece for the front of that shifter there because I had to cut it the whole little oversized because of the shape of the shifter in order to get it to drop down in there and fit right. So I still got to do the little pan or the little tray right there for that hole, and that's being worked on right now. And then the next part that we have to do will probably be the back piece where it's gonna raise up and become an armrest. So we'll have to design that next. So that's it for part 1. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified when part 2 gets done, and I'll see y'all back here next time. Thanks.